Welcome to Outlander Media Network. I'm Kirby Lee Bailey, and I'm with the legendary Gary Numan. Welcome aboard, Gary.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
How's it feel being here in the States now?
Well, I live here.
Oh, you live here?
Yeah, I've been living here since 2012. Moved to Los Angeles end of 2012.
How's it?
I've got my American passport and citizenship and everything. I'm one of you now.
Oh, congratulations.
Don't sound like it, but I'm one of you. Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I worked overseas for a long time. I understand. It's hard to change your accent. I mean,
at my age, impossible. Yeah.
Well, you look great. I mean, you are 55, 56?
66.
I'm trying to make it sound good.
Oh!
How old you are.
Yeah, I'm feeling it, though. Feeling it.
Well, I tell you, I was very excited for this interview because, like I said, this brought teenage me back in because I was like, man, I remember, because it was when your song Cars came out when I was young.
Right.
And
yeah, me too.
It was changing. Disco was disappearing, and then this was coming in, leading into the electro period when we had new bands.
Yeah.
And you've been such a major influence on so many bands, from like bands like the Human League, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, to bands like Ministry, 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, well, it's to a greater or lesser degree. I've touched a few things along the way, which is really lovely to. It's lovely when you read about that sort of stuff, when you meet people and they say things. Strangely enough, my Foo Fighters did a cover of one of my songs a few years ago, and my children are now like best friends with Dave's children, and I just love the way everything just sort of goes around, and I've always tried to be really positive about things. I don't like sort of saying bad stuff about anybody or people, because each to their own, and what they like and what they don't like. So it's lovely when you sort of bump into someone and they have a recognition for something that you've done in the past.
I mean, I love a lot of your stuff. I mean, we've even seen a show not too long ago, Fear Factory did a remake of your Car song. Yep. I remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, you've been a heavy influence. I mean, and I tell you what, you look awesome. I couldn't get over it. When you come out here, I was like, man, he is young still. I was like, I hope I look that good when I'm.
Yeah, my dad's 87 now. Still driving, still jogging every day, still having sex with his girlfriend. still living the life, and he looks older than me, but he looks great, and he's still sharp, and he's absolutely the man he was when he was 20, pretty much. So I'm hoping that I've inherited that from him.
Do you still fly?
No, I got out of flying. Number of reasons, really. I did it for a long time. I was an air display pilot, so low-level aerobatics and being upside down, close to the ground, and that sort of thing. And I loved it. But then one by one, the teammates I was with were killed in accidents or practicing or whatever, and it just the feel of it started to change. Instead of being this exciting thing that you was part of this elite group of people that did it, it started to feel sad. You'd turn up at an air show and somebody else had died, and it just, after a while, I think it got to me, and then they started to have a family. The children were coming along, and it felt like too risky a thing, too reckless a thing to do when you have children, and so I decided that it was getting time to pull out of that sort of thing, and then we decided to immigrate to America anyway. And so I thought, that's it. When that comes along, I'll just get out flying. But I do miss it a lot. It was the most exciting thing I've ever done.
What made you decide to move to America in the end, from going from England to over here?
Well, initially my wife, Gemma, she's always wanted to live in America, always. And so there was this gentle but insistent pressure, to do it. I lived here a long time ago. I lived here in the early 80s, and I did love it. But then life just took me in a different direction, and I forgot all about moving here. Things got more difficult, actually, and so I tried to consolidate in the place that I knew, which was Britain, and tried to rebuild the career. The career all went to shit, for a long time, and so I just went back to the place that I knew best and tried to rebuild it from there, and ultimately did eventually, but it took way longer than I thought it would. But that took away all my thoughts of moving to America again, and but then I met Gemma in '92, and then there was just this just gentle nudging to move here, and I think age played a part in it as well. You know, as I got older, certainly when I passed 50, I started to really worry about getting older and dying and becoming sick or whatever, and that desire to want to live every day as fully as you can. I felt I was being thwarted by that somewhere in Britain, because you look out the window and every other day it's raining. And it's a bit miserable, and the people aren't the most friendly in the world. And I just thought that I'd get more out of life by being here. And so that was part of it as well. I wanted the children to grow up here. I always feel like I'm putting my own country down. And I don't mean it that way, but there's a bit of a thug culture in Britain. I remember when my children were very little, my wife was walking down the street, and there were a gang of teenagers sort of surrounded her and were making all sorts of nasty suggestions, sexual suggestions, and with little kids with her. And I just thought that was disgusting. Policemen got stabbed. This is in a village, in the country, miles from a city, miles from anywhere where you think there would be trouble. And so it's just everywhere. And I just got sick of it, really, and I didn't want my children to grow up with those people being their choice, their choice of friends and their choice of husband in the future or whatever. So I wanted to go somewhere that felt less thuggish in a way, and I'd always loved it here. It sounds so corny and so cliche, and I don't mean it that way, but we were. I'm wasting your time too.
Oh no, you're great. I love this. I love listening to this.
We were on holiday somewhere, and we asked a group of kids the way to find somewhere, and they were tourists as well. They were American teenagers, and they just told us where we needed to go, and they're very, very friendly. My wife was in London once trying to find a particular store, and she was absolutely almost pushed aside. Pretty much everyone that she spoke to say, would you just tell me where this shop is? Because I don't live here. And the one person that helped her, the one person that stopped and said, oh yeah, I know that, was an American, in the middle of London. And those sort of two stories just sum up to me the difference. If you ask kids in London or anywhere in Britain for directions, they'd send you the wrong way and laugh while they did it and probably kick you up the arse just for the fun of it. It's a different culture, and I don't like that one, and I do like here. And I know there's troubles here, and it's not always like that, but my experience has been very positive. And so, as a dad, that I was thinking about that, and the country I wanted to bring my children up in, and I prefer this one. And I was lucky enough to be allowed to come here.
Well, like we were talking, like one time when I was in Atlanta, and I was trying to find a venue, and we were lost. Like real lost in a real bad part of Atlanta, and the girl was with me, and I pulled underneath some bridge, and there was two cars pulled side by side, and she's like, "Are you getting ready to ask those people for directions?" I said, "If you want to ride around a little longer, because I can't stand this no more." And I rolled the window down. I said, "Hey guys," I said, "What?" I said, "Hey, you know where the masquerade is?" He's like, "Yeah, follow our vehicle." And I was like. And she's like, this is not going to end well. And you know what? They took us right to the venue. Right there. And I said, I think we might have interrupted a drug deal. But they were still friendly with us. And I get it with, like London. The thing that, a lot of fellow countrymen I used to work with over there from England is that the cost of living was just so outrageous in London that, they were showing me, like, that was back when I smoked back then. They said, man, a packet of cigarettes cost like $14. And,
I don't know much about I live in Los Angeles, and it just feels really expensive to me to live there. And then I go to London. It doesn't. When I first moved here, actually, it felt cheaper. Well, I got a feeling it's kind of evened itself up a little bit now with the various things that have happened around the world. It's a friendliness. It's the unhelpfulness of people. There is a natural tendency towards being suspicious and aggressive in Britain, which I find doesn't exist here to anything like the same degree. And I feel much safer and more welcome, strangely enough, in this country than
like
in
a lot
my
of
country.
a lot of the English people I worked with when I worked out of country. They were kind of helpful, but I had this one guy, and he's been my best friend forever. But he was from Wales, and the Wales folks seem to be a lot more humble, a lot more cordial towards.
Because I'm 33% Welsh. My dad's Welsh. Well, my dad's side are Welsh, so maybe I'll get the nicer bit from them.
That's what it is, probably. Because, like I said, he was one of the nicest guys I ever met, and he was Welsh. The rest of them were from England, and they were always popping jokes on him. And I'm like, this guy seems like the coolest of any of y'all. Yeah. So I get the Welsh thing. I get that. So how is it like touring with ministry and frontline assembly? How's this going?
Oh, it's amazing. I love it. It's the second one I've done. We did. It was similar time last year, actually. That's the first time I'd met Al a few times before. Not met Frontline before. But I'm sort of fans of both anyway. So for me, I'm just sitting in the middle of things that I love. I'm bookended by things that I love. So I go out every night and I watch the sound checks and I watch the gigs every night. Every night, I mean, I finish my gig and it's a mad rush to get showered and ready to go. I don't like missing the beginning. I like to be out there for everything. It's just great fun, and the people are really lovely, and there's no ego flying around. There's nobody's being a dickhead with the sound checks. You'll get your sound check. We all make the best of what facilities there are. These are great, but sometimes they're not.
Oh,
they're great. So. It's just we help each other with the buses and the transport. Our bus is the only one that's got a slide out on it. So when there's a big get together, everyone comes on our bus because there's more room. And it's just great. This is what touring should be. Mm-hmm. Everyone's professional. Everyone does what they need to do. Everyone helps everybody else out if there's any kind of a problem, and everyone treats everyone else exactly the same. There's no hierarchy in it at all. And I've done other tours which haven't like that, so this is great. I know.
Well, this is like, and then another thing is like this venue is a great venue to go to because it's a nice place. It's Harrah, Cherokee out here in North Carolina. I mean, this is a good little venue, and one thing I love about I could come here a little early, visit you, and then go wander around the casino for a while. And I love it. This is a great venue. I remember, I think the first time I ever saw a show at this venue, it was actually Alice Cooper.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I think that was my first one. I'm trying to remember who was my first one here. I think it's Alice Cooper.
Oh, okay.
And he's a legend.
One of the first shows I ever saw was Alice Cooper, actually, back at Wembley in London.
Really?
What's it called? Welcome to My Nightmare, was it? Welcome to My Nightmare?
Yeah.
We had the big spider's web and the screens, and he would come through the screens and appear and go back into the film. And the support band was Heavy Metal Kids, I think. They were great. But it wasn't my first gig, maybe my second or third. So
I mean, with Alice Cooper, and it's amazing if you go see him now, he still performs at a very high level, a real high level.
I did a festival with him. It's a while back now, actually, probably about 8, 9, maybe 10 years actually. But we were the one before Alice Cooper, Sonosphere in Britain somewhere, and I was amazed. He was still doing this. He didn't seem to be any different energy-wise to what I'd seen 30, 40 years before.
Well, he said the only thing that's changed on him, like he said one time, I remember he said if he had to do the Welcome to My Nightmare show the way he had it back then, he said it cost us $1 million a show to do that performance now.
Yeah. It was spectacular.
I mean,
it was. I'm still talking about it now.
I mean, you see these shows, and I see some of these artists and that's one thing I've always noticed with a lot of artists that come from overseas to over here. It's like they bring their A game. It's like, whoa. It's like you get a show when you see a lot of it. We did one Tuesday night in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is our third concert in 3 states weeks is what we're doing. Right. And we were in Cincinnati for a band called Storm. They sing pirate rock.
Oh,
they're from overseas, and Jesus Christ, they put on a great show. We've seen artists like Avatar, Blind Channel, Bring Me the Horizon, and you see all these shows come over from there. And like I say, we'll do an 80s show here. You never know what kind of show we are. When I first saw you with Ministry, I was like, is that the Gary Numan that I'm thinking of from? That had the song that changed everything for 80s music.
Probably
it
not,
is Hill.
actually, probably not.
It is Hill. When you were open for this show, I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting tickets for this for sure. I got to see this. And man, like I said, you look almost exactly the same as you did years ago.
I don't know about that, but well, thank you. But
I mean, how old are your kids?
Raven is 20, Persia is 18, and Echo, the youngest, is 17 today. It's her birthday today.
Oh, are they with you on the show today? Or?
No, Raven's got Persia's just finished school only about 2 weeks ago, so she's still doing that, tidying that up. Echo's still at school, so she can't come out. And Raven, Raven's got a deal with BMG, so her first single's just come out, her second single's just about to come out. So she's at home doing social media, TikTok, all that stuff.
So
every day.
Your daughter, Raven's her daughter?
Yeah.
And she's, how old is she?
She's 20.
20, and she's going into music business like your dad?
She's got her deal. Persia's going into it as well. She's got a publishing deal. That's the next one, 18. She's got a publishing deal with BMG, and she's just about to start music college now that she's finished school. That's 18 months, and then when that's done, by the time that's done, she'll have her album finished, and I'll be looking to get a deal for her for that one. The youngest one, Echo, not sure yet. She's more of the artist, poet. You know, that her creativity is going that way. But she's probably the most creative out of all of us. So she'll end up doing something amazing, I'm sure. But she hasn't really decided where she wants to go yet.
No, so you got all three girls.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have a son, are you?
No, I'm done. Absolutely done.
We were having that conversation on the way up, and I have two girls, and I remember when they were getting a little older, I was like, God, I wouldn't mind having a son. So one day I kept my two nephews for the entire afternoon, and they were like,
change your mind.
9 and 6, and I was like, boy, these people can't be seriously occupied. I forgot how independent these two girls are.
Yeah. I never wanted boys when we were talking about having a family, and then we, as luck would have it, we had 3 girls, and I've never wanted it any different. And I'm not anti boys. I don't mean it that way. It's just I've got to say, the problems that I thought I would have with boys that would make life more challenging, I think I've had them already with all the girls. It's challenging, and it's nothing like I thought it would be. Way, way harder, more frightening. I'm frightened all the time that I'm saying the wrong things, doing the wrong things. Not handling every situation that comes along. You worry that have you handled that right? Were you sensitive enough? Did you listen enough? Did you get too angry too quickly? Whatever it might be. And it's 1,000,001 different things, but it's by far the most difficult thing. So I wouldn't want any other children, boy or girl. Those 3 have changed my life. Some of it's been for the better, and some of it really hasn't. So, and it never ends. I speak to my dad about it. He's 87 now, and he says it never changes. He says you'll worry about your children for the rest of your life until you die. You always will, and so it's not as if they get older and you can just think, oh, that's done. It's just it just changes, and each year you worry about a new set of problems and a new set of challenges. And I just didn't think it would be like that when I was younger. I thought it would be easy.
It's really never easy.
Give them some words of advice. They'll think I'm fantastic.
Like I've got 2 daughters.
Do what I said.
Like I say, I got 2 daughters, and this is going to be a change for me this year. I've got my daughters are 32 and 29.
Really?
And my youngest daughter is getting ready to make me a granddad for the first time this year. So I'm very excited.
Are you excited about that?
Yeah, because most people, they come home and some 18-year-olds say, "Oh God, Dad, I'm pregnant." It's like, but this was all planned, Dad, because I've been married for a little over a year, and I wanted a child, and I was real excited. Like, with my daughters being 32 and 29, I didn't have no grandkids, and I was beginning to think, well, maybe I'm not going to have any.
How old are you then, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 54. I'll be 55 this year.
You're doing well. That's all right.
I try to take care of myself too, because if I don't do it, I don't know who will. But thank you for the compliment. Well, Gary, we're going to wrap this up so you can get ready for your show tonight, and we appreciate you coming on here. And y'all can follow Gary Numan on all social platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify. Anything I've left out for you?
Oh, God. I don't think I'm on all them. I'm not sure.
And if y'all are come out here to Harrah's Cherokee Casino Resort tonight and check out his show. He's going to put on a great show, and we're going to tell you peace out.